A woman never expects silence to be the thing that breaks her. She prepares for betrayal, arguments, shouting, blame, accusations, drama, everything except the sound of nothing. Because when a man walks away silently, without anger, without pleading, without trying to convince her of his worth, he confronts her with something she never thought she would face: the end of her power over him. Most men don't understand this. They think walking away makes them weak, passive, defeated. But in reality, the quiet exit is one of the most psychologically disruptive moves a man can make. Women are used to emotional noise. They expect a man to react. They expect a man to fight for the relationship, send long texts, try to fix what's broken, prove he still cares. Silence, however, is a mirror. It reflects the truth back at her, clearly, without distortion. She was never as irreplaceable as she assumed. When a man leaves peacefully, he signals something almost primal: emotional self-control. He is not controlled by her choices. He is not defined by the rejection. He does not negotiate for love. And this terrifies her more than any argument, because it means she no longer has influence over his mind, his emotions, or his direction in life. A man who walks away silently is not a man she can predict. And unpredictability, in a woman's psychology, is destabilizing. Think of the moments after he leaves. Not loudly, not bitterly, just gone. She replays everything. She begins to analyze the conversations she dismissed, the warnings she ignored, the presents she took for granted. She remembers the compliments she shrugged off, the affection she didn't reciprocate, the effort she thought would always be there. She assumed he needed her validation. She assumed she was the motivation that held him together. But when he walks away quietly, she is left with a haunting realization. He didn't need her to become whole. He chose her, and now he chooses not to. That kind of autonomy rattles the ego more than any insult ever could. Silence is not absence. Silence is information. It communicates that he understands his value. It communicates that he has boundaries. It communicates that he respects himself enough to exit a situation that no longer aligns with who he is becoming. And the moment a man operates from that place, calm, grounded, confident, he becomes exponentially more attractive, not just to her, but to every woman watching his behavior. There is something powerful about a man who doesn't explain himself, a man who doesn't beg for closure, a man who doesn't try to rewrite her perception. He doesn't need her understanding to validate his decision. He doesn't need her approval to justify his departure. She was a chapter, not the entire story, and he turns the page with the steadiness of someone who has learned the art of letting go. What shakes her most is not the loss of him. It's the loss of the version of herself she used to be when he was around. She remembers the comfort of his presence, the consistency of his effort, the certainty that he cared. And now, all that certainty has evaporated. She doesn't know what he's thinking. She doesn't know if he's hurt. She doesn't know if he's moved on, or if he ever thinks of her at all. Women can handle anger. They can handle tears. They can handle arguments. But silence forces them to sit with their own choices. The psychology behind this is simple but devastating. Human beings fear the consequences of their own decisions far more than the reactions of others. When a man reacts emotionally, she can justify the breakup, rewrite the story, and convince herself he was too fragile. But when he doesn't react, when he walks away with dignity and calm, she is left to wonder whether she misjudged him completely. She realizes that she underestimated a man who had more emotional discipline than she expected. And that discipline is the foundation of masculine power. You see, men who walk away silently aren't running from pain. They're rising above it. They've learned that arguments don't create respect, explanations don't create value, and begging doesn't inspire love. They understand that what you tolerate becomes your identity, and they refuse to be identified by a relationship that doesn't honor who they are. So they leave, not to punish her, but to protect the part of themselves that still believes in dignity. For her, the silence becomes a psychological echo. Days later, weeks later, months later, she will still feel it. She might check his social media, waiting for signs of suffering. She might ask mutual friends if he's struggling. She might replay the breakup, searching for a moment where he cracked. But his quiet disappearance forces her to confront something uncomfortable. He is not performing his pain for her. And that is when she understands the truth. The man she thought she controlled no longer belongs to her narrative. He is building something new, walking toward a life where she is not the center, not the anchor, not the priority. This realization doesn't just sting. It creates a deep psychological shift. Suddenly, she is the one experiencing uncertainty, doubt, insecurity. She wonders if she pushed away a man who would have loved her deeply. She wonders if she made a mistake. She wonders if she'll ever meet someone with the same patience, the same kindness, the same emotional grounding. That's the irony of silent strength. It flips the emotional script. A man who walks away silently becomes unforgettable, not because he tried to leave an impression, but because he refused to exchange dignity for attention. He did not collapse. He did not chase. He did not plead for validation. He simply chose peace over chaos, self-respect over comfort, and growth over stagnation. And every woman, eventually, realizes the same thing. Silence is not indifference. Silence is finality. The men who walk away silently are not cold, they are wise. They understand that someone who cannot value them cannot be the one who defines them. They understand that walking away is not about giving up. It's about letting life redirect them toward something better. And most importantly, they understand that in a world full of noise, sometimes the strongest sound a man can make is walking away without saying a word. When a woman finally confronts that silence, she discovers what shakes her the most. It wasn't losing him. It was realizing he never lost himself.